Yes, indeed. My name is Total Biscuit. This is Blue Please. You are listening to WoW Radio, and if you're not already in the IRC channel, I would ask you why. There are many wonderful people there. Or at least there were, and now they've been replaced by Blue Please fans. It's horrible, really. But you need to go in there to help. Save the channel from these people. It's irc.mmoirc.com, hash or pound WoW Radio, or if you do not have an IRC client of your own, go to our website and click the chat button at the top of the screen. Come join, and join in with the fun. Yeah, I've really, really annoyed them now. Oh dear. Oh well, never mind. I've always been in the business of pissing off my own fan base. Right. Now, something interesting happened about a week or so ago, possibly even longer than that, and what I will say is that it's been something of a hot topic among various people, and people disagree as to whether or not it's a good thing or whether or not it is a bad thing. However, I know you've all been waiting for the definitive opinion, so I plan to give it to you. I was going to get someone important to give it to you. Unfortunately, I've just got me here this week, so you'll have to make do. Now, Recruit a Friend, what is it all about? The idea behind Recruit a Friend is for you, an existing player, to bring a friend, quote-unquote, into World of Warcraft. And by doing so, you get various benefits. Now, if you level with that friend in the same party, within the same proximity, you get triple XP, not only for quests, but also for mob kills. Not only that, but you can also summon your friend anywhere in the world. Anywhere. You can both summon each other, which is pretty awesome. It's on an hour cooldown, so it's not like, oh, we can go everywhere, but it's a nice bonus nonetheless. Now, that is not all. For every 2 levels that your friend gains, you gain 1 that you can apply to any of your characters, which means if you've got one of those level 30 alts that you never bother to finish leveling, like me, like I have a level 30 alt probably every single damn class, because I can never be able to finish leveling it up, you can actually buff it up to level 60. Now, this triple XP and the extra levels that you get will only get a character to 60. The benefits disappear at that point, but at level 60, you are gifted a Zebra, or Zevra mount, which is pretty much a unicorn with stripes, from what I can tell. Possibly one of the most flamingly homosexual mounts I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it's pretty abysmal. But it's a free mount, so who cares? It's actually epic speed and everything, you really can't complain. Now, there has been controversy regarding this particular program, not entirely surprisingly, because some people are viewing it as a way of getting stuff outside of the game. Now, this has always been a big thing that Blizzard has opposed, getting stuff outside of the game, i.e. being able to pay for benefits. Now, we can look at the things outside the game which give you benefits, quote-unquote. We've got the cards that you get from BlizzCon and WWI. They give you exclusive stuff. Except none of that actually benefits you in-game, it's just vanity stuff. We've also got the WoW TCG, again, none of which actually benefits you in-game. It's all vanity stuff, it has no actual practical purpose. And up until this point, that's what's been going on, so it's rather interesting to see something of a change of direction there. Now, some people would argue that that is unfair, and that that gives advantages to people who can pay more for the game. Now, what I will say is that if you have an issue with $15 a month, then I think you've got more things on your mind and more things to worry about than World of Warcraft. Now, it always surprises me to see something like that. I mean, it's always been the argument against multi-boxing as well. It's like, oh no, these people have more money. They can run however many WoWs and they can afford 4 or 5 accounts. That shouldn't be allowed because I can only afford 1 account. I can't help but laugh at that argument, really. I mean, you know what? If a person wants to drop $75 a month on 5 WoW accounts, then by all means. But you know what? $75 a month is not a lot of money. I spend more going out to dinner. You know. And I'm not even talking good restaurants here. I'm talking chain restaurants. You know, family meal at a reasonable but not great chain restaurant, plus tip, $75. You know, I'll drop that in a night. No problem. I'll go to the game store, spend $100, $150, just like that. And you know what? I am not wealthy. We are not wealthy as a family. You know, we're pretty much lower class family. And we can still afford it. Why? Oh, I don't know. Proper budgeting, maybe? You know. We've got credit card payments, house payments, car payments. We still afford them, and we're absolutely fine. So, you know. Anyone that has a problem with $15 a month, to me, really needs to be concentrating their efforts elsewhere, because consider the amount of money you could have made in the time you took to post that stupid complaint. I mean, really, go and get a job. You know, if you haven't got enough money, get 2 jobs, whatever. What's the problem with that? Anyway, that's kind of beside the point. I just find it amusing to see people whining about that particular thing. Now, the other thing that people are whining about is the fact that it increases the speed of experience. Now, there's various complaints for various different reasons, but they all center around, wow, this wasn't available when I was leveling. Yeah, that is absolutely correct. It wasn't. And it wasn't available when I was leveling either. And you might ask me, well, TB, surely you would have preferred triple experience back in the day. You're the guy that hates leveling. And this is true. I don't like leveling. I really don't. I think it's a terrible, terrible waste of time. But I also understand that it is part of the course for RPGs, so I'm willing to endure that. And gaining levels is still kind of exciting because you gradually get introduced to a character that gets progressively more and more powerful. Now, other games put a little bit more emphasis on level than WoW does, especially once you get to 70. Of course, it becomes purely about gear rather than level, but what I will say is that no, actually back in the day I would not have preferred it to be triple speed experience. And you want to know why that is? Well, there's several reasons. The first reason being that I would never have been able to afford my skills. I mean, are you kidding me? Consider this. I mean, consider how this would have worked back in the olden days when there were even less ways to make money. Bear in mind, skill costs have been kept the same. We're not talking about mudflation here. You can't come back and say, oh, well, Total Biscuit, you could afford blues black then, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, good luck getting blues if I can't even afford Fireball rank 2. What use is that to me? Now, the fact that you're getting triple XP also means that you're plowing through areas at triple the speed, which means you're killing less mobs, you're doing less quests. What does that mean? You've got less money overall, because those are the two ways of actually making money. And back in the day, you might well argue, well, you know, you could have done crafting. But even then, low-level crafting stuff wasn't even all that useful. I remember using some of it, but I didn't make a lot of money low-level with crafting, and I started making money at about level 35 when I was able to get 300 engineering. And when I had 300 engineering, I managed to get the sniper scope recipe, and yeah, I was making a bloody fortune back then, but that the minority make money from crafting and, you know, make it even a reasonable profit from crafting. And in this day and age, of course, that's just never going to happen at that level. But no, the big thing that I've got, and the big problem that I've got, is that I wouldn't have got to see everything. And I still haven't seen everything there is to offer in WoW, and to be honest, I'm not particularly bothered by that. It's like, hey, okay, I've missed maybe 2% of the content, who cares? That's no big deal, I've still seen the vast majority of it, but if the game actually let you level up that fast from the beginning, I would have missed loads of content. I mean, an absolute truckload of content. I wouldn't even know half of what I know about my class today. I just wouldn't have had the time to practice it, and that wouldn't have been too good. Now, to me, it's rather important to look at the timing of this, the introduction of this particular program, and the fact that it has been introduced at a time where the old world is dead and buried. It really is. I mean, doing anything in the old world, leveling alts, most people aren't even bothering. You know, some people already have multiple 70s, and they're spending too much time doing dailies, and they can't really afford to waste time with alts. Now, the introduction of this program means, of course, that you can roll a new character with a friend, and you can level it up at triple speed. Now, I do see that as a good thing, at least from the start. Now, what I do see, at least particularly with complaints of people right now in the community, is the fact that a lot of people are saying, hey, well, isn't this just a power leveling program? You want my answer to that? Yes, that's exactly what it is. Now, the first thing, of course, you would expect me to say is, well, this is dreadful, terrible. Now, I'm going to not do that. I'm actually going to say, you know what? I think this was planned from the very get-go. So let me explain. It seems to me that with the introduction of daily quests and badge gear, particularly, the combination of daily quests and badge gear has made gold farming, at least on a professional, I mean, I say professional, but it's hardly worth applying the term to scum such as that. It's made gold farming pretty much worthless, and only the laziest of the lazy would even bother. I mean, let me put it this way. I was watching Jen do her dailies, yeah? And she did her dailies for probably about a month, possibly even less than that. And you know what? In that time, she earned enough for an epic mount from scratch. She started off with nothing, and then she had an epic flyer, and now she's got like 2k gold again, just from doing dailies. And some of these dailies are actually quite enjoyable. Personally, I find the idea of dailies to be somewhat repetitive, but then again, what isn't? You know, doing the same thing over and over again, whether it be grinding or doing dailies, is repetitive. That's just the way of it. Now, to me, that has pretty much stomped hard on gold selling. It really has. Only the laziest would even bother with it these days. You can even look at the prices. The prices of gold, they're all over the place. I mean, sometimes they're so cheap that in this, all these offers to try and encourage people to do it, and it's like, well, I'm not going to bother. You know what? I'm not going to drop $200 on 5,000 gold if I can spend an hour every day doing dailies and have it in like 3 weeks. What's the point? I mean, really. I get rep as well. That's the best thing about it. You know, with dailies you get rep, so you get all this other gear. So why bother risking losing your account to a gold seller? Now, with the Recruit a Friend program, I am willing to say, and I'm going to put this out here as my conspiracy theory, this has been done on purpose. Yeah, gold selling, okay, it's been hammered on the head pretty hard. It hasn't gone away, but it's certainly become somewhat pointless. Power leveling, on the other hand, well, you know, loads of people want to do that. But what if, instead of paying, you could recruit a friend and you could power level yourself? Not only that, but you get a power level as a group and you get all these cool elements. Yeah? Like you get the ability to summon. You get to add levels to your other characters, and you get the Zebra mount at the end of it, something exclusive. Now, don't tell me that you really think Blizzard needs extra subscribers right now, and that's what they're trying to do. Don't be ridiculous. There's 12 million active accounts. And yeah, there's some big stuff on the horizon. Warhammer Online is coming out. It's going to be a threat to some degree, but do you really think it's going to dislodge WoW? Don't be retarded. I mean, really. That's not going to happen. Yeah, they might lose some. It doesn't matter if they lose 50% of their subscriber base. They're still going to be the biggest MMO on the planet. Now, it seems to me that this has not been done to bring new people into the game, no. I mean, yeah, bringing friends in, it might happen. I'm not going to dispute that. You might want to do that, but really, you know what the better idea is? I'll tell you what the better idea is, and this is obvious, and I'm going to put this out there, and I'm not going to say, hey, well, this is an exploit or it's a loophole in the system, because it isn't. It's set up this way. Now, you've got an account, you get your friend to sign up for a second account, yeah? Assuming you're not really doing anything. What you do is you cancel your first account, you set up your second account with the same last name as your first account, yeah? Now, you get your power leveling on, okay? Delicious ginger ale. Now, you get your power leveling on, and you level yourself up to 60. You get your mount, and you get your extra levels for your character, okay? And then, what do? You transfer, at least this is your friend, you transfer that character all the way over to your main account. You cancel that account, and look, your main account's active, and you've suddenly got a level 60 on it. Very, very fast. Now, please do not tell me that Blizzard didn't think of this, because I have absolutely no doubt that they did. I really do. I think it's intentional. I really do. This is an attempt to hammer down on power leveling services, because who, in their right mind, would buy a power leveling service if you could triple level? You know what? I'm going to be doing this Recruit a Friend program, and I'm going to be reporting on it in the next few weeks, and I'm going to tell you about the experience, because you know what? I think this is a brand new experience for World of Warcraft. I really do. Triple experience is going to affect the way you play the game. It's going to change the game dynamic, at least when you're leveling up. And to be honest, this speed leveling, for me, that sounds attractive. I'm a person who hates leveling, but to me, 3 times the speed, you know what? That might be tolerable. You know what? If I'm doing it with a friend, and I have to do it with a friend in order to get the bonus, it's going to be double the fun, and it's going to be 3 times the speed. And I want to do that. I find myself wanting to roll an alt and actually level it up. And I've never done that. I mean, the highest alt I've got is level 28 or so. And that's just for gimmicks. I mean, like WoW Radio Guilds or Machinima or RP events or whatever, that we were just mucking around with people. And I really actually intended to get the character up to the highest level imaginable. But you know what? Now I might do that. I might actually roll something that's not a mage. Really. That is a shocking, shocking thing for me. And it's taken this. It has taken this to make me do it. Now, for me, as an old guard player who had really lost interest in playing towards the end of TBC, this is a new lease of life for me. This is like, I can experience the old content again from a different perspective, from a different class, and not be overly frustrated by the fact that it takes too bloody long to do. It's genius. Whoever came up with this is a bloody genius. I'm not going to dispute that. I mean, this guy should be held up on a pedestal. He really should. Because this is not just a double-bladed sword. We're talking about a frigging glaive here with like 12 blades, and you throw it through the air and it sticks in someone's head, and the police come and say, hey, why did you throw that glaive? And he said, well, just because it's that awesome. And they say, oh, okay, it was awesome, that's fine. We'll leave you in peace. That's how awesome it is. And I think it's a work of marketing genius. I honestly do. And I'm going to take part in it. And I'm going to report on it over the next few weeks. I'm going to give you my experience, and I'm going to tell you exactly what's been going on and how, as an old guard raider, this makes me feel, and whether or not, for me, this is the new lease of life for WoW. I'm genuinely excited. And you know what? You want to call it power leveling service and you want to say, oh, well, you're paying for benefits outside of the game. Well, you go ahead. But to be quite honest, I don't mind a change in direction when it's for the better like this, because I think this has got so many different purposes and so many different uses, and they're pretty much all positive. And I'm going to put my seal of approval on it as a great idea. I really am. After the break, we'll be talking about Lake Wintergrasp and the new PvP experience that it promises to provide. My name is Total Biscuit, this is Blue Please, this is WoW Radio, and this is some Nubcake news. I'll be back after this. Enjoy. Live from the Blue Please Tower in Howling Fjord, this is Nubcake News with award-winning anchor Total Biscuit, bringing you the news that you want, whether you know it or not. Welcome to Nubcake News, my name is Total Biscuit, and this is my huge shaft. I recently came into possession of it from a goblin mining company, thought it might turn a nice profit. Getting it out of the studio could be a bit of a problem. In the news this week, speculation is rife in the financial sector about the impending downfall of Blizzard Entertainment. With huge releases such as Progress Quest Online and the already unstoppable Hellgate London, is this the end of a short 17-year honeymoon for the startup developers? To find out what lies ahead for the troubled company, we sent a man to Blizzard HQ to discover what they have in mind to save their failing enterprise. Here with a special report is business correspondent Total Wanker. That's Banker, you bumbling buffoon. No, can't be. Total Buffoon is away, hosting a show on WoW Radio at the moment. Quiet, you imbecile! I'm here today with Blizzard's head of public relations, the Prophet Scarum, who will be talking to us today about his grand scheme. Foolish mortal, you could not possibly know about our grand scheme. Nay, I will inform you of a scheme none the less grand, but in comparison, not so grand at all. So just how grand is it? 7. Well, that is certainly quite grand. Tell us about this plan to revitalize the World of Warcraft. Well, as you know, the WoW population has been dropping sharply of late. What you don't know is they have not in fact left for other games. We actually fed them to Viscidus. Wasn't he last seen in the fridge? Yes, but you see, WoW players are so predictable. Our operatives handed out flyers to all the major cities offering free epics and a glass of milk, and told them it could be found in the Karaji fridge. While we found it somewhat hilarious for a time, we discovered that those eaten by an amorphous green goop monster could not in fact pay their subscriptions. This left us in a bit of a pickle. So our lead designer, Cthulhu, came up with a great idea. The Recruiter Friend Program. Or so we thought. Sounds okay. What happened? Well, you know how he likes to whisper all those creepy phrases to you. Yes, he's a real joker, but turns out that in fact, yes, your friends will abandon you. The program was a colossal failure. So what does Blizzard plan to do to avoid certain doom? Well, actually, we're big fans of certain doom, particularly when they concern prophecies and armies of giant space ants. Let me rephrase. WoW is clearly on the brink of annihilation. What do you plan to do to avert that? You're kidding, right? We're the goddamn Karaji. We're planning to cause it. No, this isn't getting anywhere. Can I speak to your supervisor? Fine, bloody reporters. Calvin? Who's Calvin? Well, I guess you know him as Cthulhu, but we like to call him Calvin. It's between friends. You wouldn't understand, you pitiful mortal. Yes? How did you get out here? Aren't you eternally bound to the floor of your chamber, surrounded by a miasma of pure unadulterated darkness and fear?
Stairlift. We just had it installed. The payment plan was very reasonable.
I'm sorry, you'll have to forgive me, but I've never seen the rest of you before.
That's because your guild sucked, my dear.
No, not phase 2. I mean those incredibly stylish jeans you're wearing.
Well, they don't call me Calvin for nothing, you know. But seriously, call me that and I digest you.
Moving swiftly on, tell me about this plan you have to revitalize WoW.
Well, the Recruiter Friend program didn't work out too well, so we decided on an entirely different approach. We call it the Recruit a Mortal Enemy program.
Intriguing. How does it work?
We've prepared this instructional presentation to answer just that.
Do you think you've beaten WoW? Are the challenges of even the toughest instances now dull and mundane? Don't worry, help is on the way in the form of the Recruit a Mortal Enemy program. How does it work? Well, I'm glad you asked. First, you must find yourself a partner. The more you hate each other, the better. Once you've entered your information, your enemy will roll a new character and you will pick an existing one. One player will begin at 70 and the other at level 1 on opposing factions. Each player will be granted triple experience, but for every level your enemy gains, your main will lose one. That's right, the excitement of lost experience from the good old days of MUDs and old school MMOs is back again, with a competitive twist. What's more, you both gain the ability to summon each other to the place you were originally standing, at the same time. But why am I in the middle of Serpent Shrine? What
the? Ironforge?
It's an orc! Get him! Get him!
Get him off me, they're biting my kneecaps. No, not there.
Instead of giving you both a zebra mount, because let's face it, they're for pansies, we decided to give you the ability to take away your mortal enemy's mount. At any time! What the... To make sure the competition stays fast and furious between you and your mortal enemy, whenever one of you reaches level 0, your entire character will be deleted and replaced with a mage in full Arcanist. Well, okay, I guess that's a little extreme. We'll just delete the character. An experience the truly hardcore will love. It's World of Warcraft's Recruit a Mortal Enemy program. Enroll today. So, an astonishing turn of events and a very sound business strategy from Blizzard. We look forward to seeing how successful it is. This has been Nopecake News. Good night.